And a very happy Monday to you at 12:08 in the West. Talk Radio 790 KABC, the John Phillips Show, broadcasting live from the Morongo Casino Resort and Spa Living Room Studios. Mr. Randy Wang's at the sports desk in Culver City.
John, San Francisco Mayor London Breed held a press conference this weekend to talk about a bunch of arrests that the SFPD have made, but the press conference ended up being about a different A word.
To hold people accountable, to again hold people accountable, to be held accountable, that people are held accountable. Also need to make sure that accountability is a big part of the equation as well, that we are holding people accountable.
That's the buzzword for no punishment.
She can't say convictions because, well, to this point, they've only been able to convict one drug dealer for fentanyl in San Francisco.
Can't say convictions, can't say prison time. So they have to go with accountability.
At the end of the day,
800-222-KABC is the telephone number, 1-800-222-5222. As you can probably hear, my voice is a little shaky today. It was a little shaky on Friday as we got deep into the show. I thought it was just going out because of overuse. As it turns out, maybe it's a little bit more than that. Tested negative for COVID, so it's not that. But we'll see if the voice holds up for 3 hours. Hopefully it will. And I'm going to do something right now that I don't typically do on this program. And I don't typically do it for a lot of different reasons. First and foremost, I think it's a lazy way to host a show. And that is, I don't spend a lot of time on this program talking about my personal life. And I don't do that for a bunch of reasons. First and foremost is I don't want to bore you. I think it's a lazy way to do a show when you have someone hosting a program who spends all of their time talking about themselves. Unless you're someone like Oprah Winfrey, where people are very interested in what you're wearing, what you're eating, who you're going to dinner with, for the most part, most of our lives are pretty mundane. And what the individual thinks about the world is far more interesting than what they ate for lunch. So that's why I typically don't talk about those sorts of things.
We could do 3 hours on you getting patty melts and scotches.
Exactly. If you're interested in seeing people talk about themselves, watch Bravo. They have programming that does nothing but that. And some of it is quite entertaining, especially if you're a fan of the Chrisleys or the Housewives or Below Deck. But because today my personal life is now in part in the news, I feel like it's appropriate to talk about it. What I'm referring to is the death of actress Suzanne Summers, who is not only an acclaimed actress and singer and author and businesswoman, she's also a very good friend of mine. She and her husband, Alan, have essentially been like family to me here in the desert since I moved here. I met Suzanne through Ambassador Richard Grinnell, who was also part of the desert community out here some 10 years ago. And she and I became fast friends, and her husband, Alan. And it's hard to talk about Suzanne without talking about Alan, too. Because those two, whenever you see them on television, and they've written books together about their relationship, and they have been tied at the hip together professionally, personally, really since the day they met. But you can't talk about one without talking about the other because they operate like a unit. And it's so rare for me to really have great affection for a couple who are friends with me. Usually I like one and not the other. And quite frankly, Randy, typically when I find out that one of my friends is dating or married to someone else, my opinion of them drops because I dislike the person that much.
Quite frankly.
But in the case of Alan and Suzanne, the two of them not only made a great couple and a great combination, they were both and are both, unbelievably amazing human beings in their own right. Suzanne passed away over the weekend due to complications from breast cancer. She has been battling breast cancer for decades and been able to maintain her physical health, work full-time, perform, and enjoy life. And you have all kinds of different friends in this world. Some friends are business friends. Some friends are travel friends. Some friends are these kinds of friends or those kinds of friends. And Suzanne and Alan became my dinner friends out here in the desert. She lived right around the corner from me before she sold her house. And the reason that she sold her house, which was this amazing campus that was nestled in the hills with the most amazing view of the entire valley, was because she was worried about Alan. Alan is in his 80s, late 80s at this point, and the two of them are so active and so vigorous that they would do things like tend the garden and fix the fences and all kinds of things that people in their 80s probably shouldn't be doing. And one time he was doing work on the yard and fell and really injured himself. And she was worried that if they didn't get rid of that house, which had tons of steps, that something bad would happen to Alan, and she couldn't let that happen. So they sold this house that was a piece of absolute paradise for one that didn't have quite as many stairs, didn't have quite as many steps, so it would be easier for Alan to move around. I never thought in a million years that Suzanne would go before Alan. And she was someone who was not just an artistic person, but she was also someone who was very well read. She is from California. She's from San Bruno. And she cared so deeply about this state and so deeply about making sure that we fix California. We talk about doing that all the time. We would have conversations about that topic all the time. And frequently when you talk to people who are extremely talented in one aspect of their life, they're quite ignorant when they think that they are experts on every aspect of humanity. That was not Suzanne. Suzanne was smart, well-read, and didn't suffer fools. And the most amazing hostess when you would go over to her house for dinner. Because unlike a lot of other people who are rich or successful or famous, she didn't have hired help over there doing the dinners. Suzanne was the cook and Alan was the bartender. And we called the bar, which was their patio, Big Al's Bar. And Suzanne would come around with the food, and we would always do appetizers and hors d'oeuvres at the bar while we enjoyed the amazing view. And Suzanne had tricks, by the way. If you want to toast her tonight or whenever, her drink was Patron on the rocks with lime. And her trick as to not getting drunk was to keep refilling the glass with ice. If you keep refilling it with ice, it always looks full. You always have a full drink, and you don't get obliterated. And not only would she do the cooking, and I love this about her, but even though she was worth $1 gazillion, she was always looking for a deal. One of the things that she would serve at her house is caviar and crackers. And one day we were there, and she was being complimented on the caviar. I don't even remember who it was. They were going on and on and on about how great it was. And she pulled me off to the side, Randy, right after the person finished their dissertation on the quality of the caviar. And she said, "John, guess where I got it?" And I said, "Where?" And she said, "Costco."
That's fantastic.
But she was that kind of person. She and I used to email each other on a very regular basis about news or politics or whatever. The last exchange we had was about soup. It was about chilled soup. Wanting to try a new recipe for cold banana rum soup. That was the last exchange we had. And then when I found out that the cancer had come back, I emailed her and never received a response. And it was very unlike her to not respond right away. And the minute she didn't respond right away, I knew something was wrong. I knew that the cancer had come back, and the cancer had come back aggressively. And unfortunately, this was one battle that she didn't win. But I really feel bad that all of you out there never got an opportunity to meet her in person. Because if you met her in person, let me tell you, there is no one out there you will ever meet who is as naturally likable as Suzanne Summers. The character that you saw on Three's Company, Chrissy Snow, was her. And she and I had this conversation many times. At the time that she was cast for that role, she did not have a lot of acting experience. But Chrissy Snow was from Fresno. Suzanne Summers was from San Bruno. Chrissy Snow had a great sense of humor and loved to laugh. Suzanne Summers had a great sense of humor and loved to laugh. What you saw with that character was who she was. She had a childlike innocence of the world around her, but a wisdom that few people gave her credit for. I'll end with this. When she left Three's Company, that was not her decision. There are people who essentially allege that she demanded a lot of money and walked and was being a brat about it, and she was the bad guy. And it caused her relationship with John Ritter and Joyce DeWitt and others to be a complicated one. They all made up before Suzanne passed away, but it was certainly a complicated relationship at times. So I want to clear the air on what happened there. She went to ABC and told ABC that she wanted the same money as John Ritter because John got paid the most, Joyce DeWitt got paid the second most, and Suzanne Summers got paid the least. That show became the number one show on television, and Suzanne Summers was the star of that show. And believe it or not, liberal left-wing Hollywood came to her, the executives at ABC, when she asked for parity in pay with John Ritter and Joyce DeWitt. We cannot do that. And we cannot do that because if we pay the girls as much as we paid the boys, we'll go broke. That was the official answer that she was given by the network as to why they wouldn't pay her. But this will tell you what type of person Suzanne was. In response to that, it wasn't let me lawyer up and let me cry sexism and let me go to all the feminist organizations and march outside the building. In fact, the feminist organizations didn't want anything to do with her either because they don't represent the pretty girls. So what did she do? She decided at that point that she would never work for anyone again. She was going to start her own business. She was going to be her own boss. And if she started her own business and she was her own boss, then she would always get along with a boss that was fair. And that's when she went to Vegas, and that's when she headlined a show that lasted a very long time on the Las Vegas Strip. That's when she did the Thigh Master. That's when she wrote the books. She did all of that because that was her company. She owned it. And she never had to beg a network again for pay parity. She just had to be a successful businesswoman and laugh all the way to the bank. And that's exactly what she did. Suzanne Summers was an unbelievable entertainer. She was an even better person. May she rest in peace. If you'd like to email the show, you can do so at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. That's johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. And Randy, if you want to listen to the podcast edition of this program. That just got a whole lot easier.
That's right, because we've got a brand new and improved KABC app. Just search for KABC AM on the Apple App Store or the Android Store, and it's the easiest, most clutter-free way to listen live to this station anytime you're outside the AM radio signal, so you can listen anywhere around the world. And boy, do we get emails from places like South Africa, from, of course, tons of people listening in the Bay Area and all over the place. But not only that, you can listen to podcasts of this show whenever you want, right there on the app. It's that easy. It works with CarPlay. The only thing that it doesn't have, and I'm sorry to say this, is the app has no tacos or balloons.
We're doing whatever we can to get people to come. Tacos, balloons.
Well, that could be a bell and a whistle that's added on afterwards.
Will.
In the meantime, what do you say we make a couple of listeners very happy?
Let's do that right now. 790 KABC welcomes Madonna on the Celebration Tour at the Kia Forum on March 7th, 2024. Tickets are on sale now at Ticketmaster.com. But right now, caller number 9 at 1-888-790-5222 gets a pair of tickets to the show. Tickets furnished by Live Nation. Good luck dialing.
You know what Lewis told me?
What's that?
He said the only reason that Madonna is back on tour is because now she's eligible for pre-boarding at the airport.
No. I know.
That's what Lewis said. Let's go to John in Los Angeles. John, you're on KABC. Hello.
John? You know, he's listening to the radio, so he'll hear you put him on in about 35 seconds.
Yeah, I'm going to be moved on by then.
John.
All right. Well, we like the idea of it. Thanks for calling, John.
He's going to be real upset in about 30 seconds. Now, I'm sure he was told when he called in, but let me just remind every single person out there, when you call into a radio station, listen to the phone, not the radio. The radio's on a delay, and you're going to miss your chance to be on the air.
He's going to start talking right about now, and he's going to wonder why I have nothing to say.
Maybe he'll call back.
All right. In the meantime, what do you say we open up the KABC Crime Blotter?
If the cashier is dummy.
Questions? No. I know.
And Randy, today's edition takes us to the city that is the gift that keeps on giving all year long.
That's right. Unfortunately, for anyone that lives in Oakland, it's another crime story about Oakland.
Oakland, I love you, but you don't love me.
It's my favorite. Woman got her car stolen. When they found the car, it was torched, and her insurance company denied her claim. So now she owes $20,000 on a torched cinder block.
That seems about right.
For more, here is KPIX in the Bay Area.
Well, take a look at this. Seats charred and windows gone. This is how...
Why do they have to light the car on fire?
I think that's the meth talking.
This is how one woman in Oakland found her car after it was stolen. You can see there's barely anything left there. She's not alone. California leads the nation with about 100,000 vehicle thefts through July of this year.
We're number one. We're number one.
Lots of very appropriate chest beating can go on now.
She's not alone. California leads the nation with about 100,000 vehicle thefts through July of this year. That's according to the National Insurance Crime Bureau. Lynn has that woman's story.
Oakland has a car theft epidemic, and it's affecting people in different ways. The victim you're about to meet...
You know what the cure is for that epidemic?
Accountability.
Or recalling Pamela Price.
That too.
Quite frankly. Oakland has a car theft epidemic, and it's affecting people in different ways. The victim you're about to meet not only lost her car, she says she still owes $20,000 on the car loan. It's been 3 weeks since someone stole Jennifer Prackett's car from her apartment building's gated garage near Jack London Square. But the troubles keep piling on.
Beyond furious. I'm still beyond furious.
Here is what's left of my car.
Oakland police recovered her Hyundai Sonata within 20...
Had to be a Hyundai.
Wait, it wasn't a Nissan Altima?
It was not a Nissan Altima. The Nissan Altima has not been set on fire, but let's double check.
That was an Altima LTMA 4899410. Please move it now. You're blocking someone.
You love that clip.
I do.
Oakland police recovered her Hyundai Sonata within 24 hours. Someone burned the inside. Her insurance company, Esurance, recently denied her claim.
Do not get Esurance.
No. Any insurance company, and I'm going to do a public service right now. Any insurance company that has cleavage in the billboard is not a company that is ever going to pay out on a claim. You got that?
Her insurance company, Esurance, recently denied her claim. She says Esurance dropped her comprehensive coverage because she failed to update her address when she moved from Florida to Oakland.
That seems like quite the technicality.
Well, I would assume the rates are extremely different in Oakland compared to Florida.
It may be if she told her insurance company she was moving to Oakland from Florida, they would say, we don't cover people in Oakland. Your car's definitely getting stolen.
They would have dropped her like a bad habit.
It's wild, wild west out here.
The car loan is about $20,000. A little bit more with interest, but it's right at $20,000. So right now I'm still responsible for that.
The tow fee and storage fee add up to a couple of $1,000s. At this point, she'll let the towing company keep the car.
I feel like
What was she going to do with it? Keep it as a reminder in the garage?
Yeah, decorate it for Christmas?
I feel like I've been treated like I'm the criminal, and that's not okay.
Police say they recorded 11,417 stolen cars in Oakland from January to October 8th.
Oakland's not that big.
No, it's not.
That's like you're almost at a 1% of all residents in a city have had their car stolen this year.
Is Oakland even in the top 5 in terms of population in California?
No.
It's what? L.A. number 1. And San Diego, number 2.
And then I think it's San Jose.
San Jose is 3. San Francisco's 4. Is Oakland bigger than Sacramento?
It might not be.
Police say they recorded 11,417 stolen cars in Oakland from January to October 8th.
And the year's not even over.
No. We still have a quarter of the year left to go.
Come on, Oakland. You know you can hit 15,000 by Christmas.
They say this number includes cars that are stolen in Oakland and cars stolen outside of the city and recovered in Oakland. Officers say that.
So if the car gets dumped in Oakland, even though it's from San Leandro, it counts as an Oakland car stolen.
Okay, so what were those numbers in cars in terms of cars stolen in Oakland?
Over 11,000 from January to October.
Okay. When you look at cities based on population in California, Oakland is not in the top 5, so we were correct. L.A., San Diego, San Jose, San Francisco, Fresno, Long Beach, Sacramento, and then you have Oakland at 430,000 people. Oakland is literally a fraction of Los Angeles, and Santa Ana is right behind Oakland at number 9.
400,000 people. 11,000 cars stolen. If I could figure out how to do this calculator properly, we are at 2% of all residents in a city have had their car stolen this year.
I wonder how many of them have had multiple cars stolen.
Officers say that's a...
Depends. Did the family own a Kia and a Hyundai?
Good point.
Officers say that's a 50% increase compared to the same period last year.
But, John, what could be different between this year and last year that would result in a 50% increase in car thefts?
A crazy district attorney?
Quite frankly.
How about a mayor who fired the police chief on day one?
And never replaced him.
Officers say that's a 50% increase compared to the same period last year. Investigators say they deal with a lot of Hyundais and Kias. The thieves know many Hyundai and Kia models are easy to steal.
See, if it was anything nicer, they wouldn't have torched the car. They would have used it.
No, if you torch a car after you steal it, that's like buying clothes at H&M. It's one use and then done.
This car is good for one trip and one trip only.
Investigators say they deal with a lot of Hyundais and Kias. The thieves know many Hyundai and Kia models are easy to steal because they don't have an ignition immobilizer, which is meant to prevent theft.
Rented cars on the Turo app and then Ubered. I probably spent in the last 3 or 4 weeks $1,200.
Yeah, I'm going to guess you didn't have rental insurance either.
You know, it's days like today, Randy, I wish I spoke Korean.
Why is that?
Because I would love to know how this story is being reported in the Korean papers. Because both Hyundai and Kia, they're both Korean companies, correct?
That's right.
Okay. So what they're doing is they're blaming the Koreans for the crime increasing in Oakland.
Getting back and forth to work.
Not only did Jennifer lose a lot of money, but she also lost her sense of safety. Once her lease is up, she and her boyfriend will move out of Oakland.
We're going to move. I don't want to be here. I'm concerned every time we leave the house with our car anywhere that it's going to get taken.
It will.
Why the hell did you move there in the first place? I'd love to know that.
I'd like a deep dive on how that happens. With everything we know about Oakland, everything that's been seen around Oakland, you choose of all the places, all of the 58 counties in this state to Alameda County. What's going on?
Well, you know, Tampa Bay, their football team there, they're the Buccaneers. So maybe she moved to Oakland to be closer to the Pirates.
Police tell drivers, especially if they own a Hyundai or Kia, to spend $20 to $30 to buy a steering wheel lock like this one. It should deter, if not slow down the thieves.
You know what? We should start a charity organization. It gives all Kia and Hyundai owners the club.
Is that really what we're going to do? We're going back to the future, and we're going to want people to put the club on their car again like this is 1988. Is there a car that exists on planet Earth that has the club on the steering wheel that also doesn't have duct tape somewhere on the car? What else? There's a Clinton Gore bumper sticker on the back.
It's accurate.
It's a gross polluter. You have to pay someone off at one of those shady shops to pass the smog test. You won the car in a poker game. Do they even sell the club anymore, or do you have to buy it on Amazon?
That is an interesting
eBay.
question. Does the club still exist?
Well, because what happens is you make better mouse traps, you end up with smarter mice. My guess is the car thieves have figured out a way to get around the club sometime around 1988.
The club still exists. Decades later, it's still stopping car thieves.
Okay, does it still prevent the car from being stolen, or is it just decoration, like the check engine light?
Well, unless you've got the key for the club or you've got a saw on you, you're not going to be able to steer the car you've stolen because it's locked.
Yes, but I would imagine that the crooks have some sort of device to cut the club. I mean, it's not impenetrable.
One of the auto searches is, does the club prevent Kia theft?
I mean, they don't make these things out of kryptonite.
Sheriffs say the club will make it much harder for people to steal your Kia.
Yeah, that means it's still getting stolen.
Well, you have two choices, John. You can either get the club and see if that helps, or you can stop buying cheap-ass cars.
Okay, I know the insurance companies no one likes. They're big, they're bad, they exist to make money off of our backs by not paying out on claims ever.
Heck, half of my life reads are going off on insurance companies.
Okay. But if you're an insurance company, are you going to want any part of insuring a car that requires the club? If I'm an insurance company, I'd rather insure one of those Ford Explorers that I know is going to roll. How about the trucks where the engine just catches on fire? That's probably a better deal than a car that requires the club, because not all of them are going to get caught on fire. But if your car has the club, it's definitely getting stolen.
Wouldn't it be cheaper, instead of spending all those millions of dollars on cameras that aren't going to do anything on every corner in Oakland, to give every Oaklander a club?
Maybe they will. They gave out the COVID tests.
Oakland, I love you, but you don't love me.
Let's go to Martin from Toluca Lake. Martin, you're on KABC. Hello.
Hey, John and Randy. As always, great show. But I wanted to pass on to you guys and to the listeners, the club can work. A year ago, I have an SUV. I took it in the body shop because I had some nicks on the tailgate. So when the guy was looking at or walking around the car, he said, "What's going on with your door lock on the driver's side?" And I said, "What do you mean?" I used the fob. Somebody pushed in the thing where you can put a key in still if you want, pushed it in. There were some scratches around it. And he said, "They tried to steal your car. You had the club on." I said, "That is correct." So as you guys say, if the cashier is dummy, and obviously I had a dummy amateur, they couldn't get my car. I'm in a building, secure building. They got in, but they didn't get the car. So the club worked for me. The club worked.
The club works. We've got a testimonial.
Yes, and, the amateurs, they're not going to carry the saw tools. They want to get, they want something fast. And the pros, they know what they're doing. But if they don't have the saw, because a lot of people don't have the club anymore, they'll get your car. This club will slow them down and, again, save my car.
Did you buy the club from like a Walmart or a Target or one of those magazines you find in the airplanes?
Actually, I got it at Pet Boys.
Okay.
And I've had the club for many, many years. And I believe in them because, again, it's a deterrent. They want to, if we know, they want to move fast. They see that, that's a deterrent, they move on.
Another happy customer. Thank you for the call, sir. Let's go to Tim in Norwalk. Tim, you're on KABC. Hello.
Hey, guys. I was laughing a lot when you were talking about the guy won the car in poker and has duct tape. But, well, he mentioned what I was going to mention. The club, it's just one extra thing to slow them down. And a lot of these people that are taking the cars, they're just kids using tablets and hacking it because it's a YouTube challenge or they're posting it on social media. And if you really don't want them to take your car, the club, it might work, but, I mean, don't leave your car in the wrong place. Like, I'm very careful about where I leave my car. I won't just park anywhere, and I think nowadays that's really what you need to do is, I mean, there's nothing you could do overnight, but other than park in a garage, but we put cameras on the outside of our house because we don't want our Cadillac converters being stolen. But other than that, there's very few places I'll just leave my car, especially overnight or for hours. And that's what people need to pay attention to. But, I mean, the club, for $15, $20, it will slow someone down. You might as well use it. It's fun to make fun of it, but it does help. It does help. It's one extra step.
The moral of the story, don't park your car anywhere within the Oakland city limits.
Well, you shouldn't even go to Oakland, right? Like those people, that lady, I'm like, did she not know? I mean, it's not like this is anything new. This has been going on for decades. Oakland is not a safe place. It's riddled with crime and poverty and drugs. You should be aware of that. Before you move there, you should know, like, hey, that's a dangerous place. I probably shouldn't live there. I guess she figured it out the hard way, though.
Well, here's all you need to know.
Lesson.
The city of Oakland is too violent for the Raiders.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the only place I've ever been where I felt unsafe, and that was like over 20 years ago. And I can only imagine how much worse it's gotten. I mean, I go through South Central. It's, I wouldn't go around there on a Saturday night, but I don't feel unsafe necessarily. Oakland, on the other hand, my God, you got to be nuts to live there. Out of your mind.
I think you just gave us a drop.
Well, it's true. It's true. But anyways, enjoy the show. Thanks a lot, guys.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Would he be the first caller to make it as a drop?
No, we actually have had quite a few of those over the years. Let's see. This is one.
You know he's a flippin' liar. Come on now.
And then there was that one, I don't think I have it on the wall currently, where the caller called Cecily Meyer Cruz a Nazi.
Oh, yes. I distinctly remember that call.
Yeah, we've had a few over the years. But that was, here's one.
Is the citizen dummy?
Congratulations, sir. You just made the wall.
What an honor.
Are we going to the top or are we breaking now?
Oh, let's go to the top. More people are calling in about the club. Doesn't get better than this. Club Talk, 800-222-KABC.
All right, let's go to another caller.
All right, Morris. Morris, you're on the John Phillips Show. Hello.
Yes, I provide maintenance for several police, LAPD towing companies, contractors. And if a professional steals your vehicle, they usually use a stolen tow truck. That's why you'll see a police commission permit number on the side of the door usually. The amateur will carry an 18-volt grinder, and they grind a piece off the steering wheel, remove that club in 30 seconds. If someone wants your vehicle, they're going to take it. The only way they're going to put a dent to it is if you start incarcerating these amateur car thieves for starting at a month for the first offense and then go on further. Otherwise, you're not stopping this. And also increase your liability insurance, your comprehensive. Nothing is going to stop this. It's very unfortunate.
Well, they don't want to put anyone in prison. What they want is accountability.
That's the word of the day. Thanks for the call, Morris. One more here. John in Santa Monica. John, you're on the John Phillips Show. Hello.
Hi, guys. Great show. I was wondering if we can get a club for your catalytic converter as well.
So every time you go to drive, you got to go under your car and unlock it before you can do anything?
Yeah, double security, you know. Can't be too safe these days.
Well, I think they sell cages that you can put around the catalytic converter, but they can just cut through those too.
Yeah, but I think a double club would be a great marketing idea for some company out there. You know, one for the bottom of the car, one for your wheel, and then maybe they can make another one from under the hood at some point, you know?
The double club. The catalytic club. It's alliteration. I'm for it.
Excellent. Take care, guys. Great show. Thank you.
Thank you for the call. It'll only take you 45 minutes to go pick up a quart of milk. All right, we've got 2 more hours coming up on the John Phillips Show. The Fix California hour's next. Don't you go anywhere. This is Talk Radio 790 KABC.
Get out of my way.